Johni Broome made it a serious debate for much of his final season at Auburn. Who was the best player in all of college basketball? It was Cooper Flagg versus Johni Broome. There were times for much of the season that very smart people said Johni Broome deserved the National Player of the Year award over Cooper Flagg. Ultimately, he relinquished it late. The number one overall pick asserted his dominance, led Duke to a Final Four, which Johni Broome also did. But some injury concerns derailed his season late. Auburn didn't fully look the same, even though they made a deep NCAA tournament run. But what a year it was for Johni. 18 and a half points a game, 10 and a half rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, 2 blocks a game, 1 steal a game. He was pretty much unstoppable the entire season and played with a flair for the special moment every single game that made it must see television. Johni Broome slots in 36th overall on our big board. I think that's higher than most NBA draft exports would have him, largely because I ranked him really high, but you ranked him so low that it canceled me out for the most part. I have him 19th on my personal big board. I would take him firmly in the first round. You have him 75th. You don't even think he should be close to being a selection in this draft. For what it's worth, the rest of our team, Ralph had him 42nd, Riley 34th, Dion 33rd. That's more in the sweet spot of where he's projected to actually go in the draft. So polar opposite extremes, you and I. This should make for a fun video. Why are you so out on the Johni Broome experience after his collegiate career as he progresses to the NBA?
Because honestly, given even like the things such as the defensive versatility, the block percentage, and things like that, and the productivity that he displayed, right? I feel like you can't overlook what he did. Like he literally was the second best player in the sport to one of the better prospects and players in the sport in Cooper Flagg. I just don't see it translating given his athleticism and mobility, right? Like obviously he has the length, but I just think that he is more of a heavy set plotter than he actually gets labeled as. And I think the way he tested and honestly, sometimes the way he moves, he looks like he's in pain a lot. And maybe he was in pain, but I don't buy the mobility and athleticism translating.
The injury concerns are super real. Like ever since he dealt with the injuries at the end of his season at Auburn, and he's also very old. He hasn't looked the same. He just didn't have the same explosion, even in the NCAA tournament for Auburn. And yeah, you're right. At the combine, he looked very hurt. If this is the Johni Broome that is going to be here forever, I would be very concerned about his NBA career. I just don't think it is. I think he was going through the postseason play and the combine stuff, still healing from an injury that's going to take a little bit longer to heal. I expect him to make a full recovery. Me ranking him so highly is more about the rest of this draft class than it necessarily is some supreme belief in Johni Broome. But I'm always a firm believer in this. I say this every year. I don't like overthinking good basketball players. This guy is just a great basketball player. Like the fact that it became a serious conversation between him and Cooper Flagg. Say that out loud. Like everybody else is going to get taken in this draft also played last season. We didn't for 1 second put those guys in the same realm as Cooper Flagg, who's a transcendent prospect. Like Broome was that good. He truly deserved all of the hype and accolades he got. And I don't know what it will look like in the NBA, but I know this. Outside of the top 15 or so in this class, you're banking on a lot of guys with questionable floors. And I don't think Johni Broome's floor is all that questionable. I think we know he's a legitimately good basketball player. If healthy, you can say there's not a ton of upside at the next level because of how plotting he can be. But to me, if he makes a full recovery, some franchise is just going to get a productive basketball player. Quickly, let's hit on his strengths and weaknesses. Starting with strengths, what are the biggest things for Broome?
So for me, the strength, the word I use is productivity. Like he's productive, right? Despite the things that I spoke about as far as like what he has done and kind of maybe the limitations he has athletically, he's an incredible scorer, rebounder, shot blocker, underrated passer, and was the second best player in the sport in a sport with Cooper Flag.
Yeah. Yeah, for strengths for me, I think it's versatility. I think it's rim protection. I think it's rebounding. These are a lot of things you need to do as a front court player in the league that he can do all of them for. I also think he's added a ton to his game. He was a much different guy when he left Auburn than when he got into Auburn. He went from a high profile transfer ad to like the best player in the country at times. I think he's a guy who clearly has improved himself a lot, and that's something you could expect to continue as he gets to the NBA. He's a guy I buy the jumper of. He didn't shoot the three great, but like he was hitting a lot of step back threes at the end of his Auburn career. I think there's some untapped shooting upside as well. Weaknesses, what do you got for Johni? Is it just injury concerns or lack of explosion?
I think injury concerns, lack of explosion, I think is the biggest one for me. And also age. Like, right, he's going to be he's an older prospect. He's a super duper senior, and I just think that I don't know if the shot blocking is going to translate as much as I think it, because I just think he's a step slow, and I think it works at the college level. And I just don't see it translating to him being able to keep up athleticism wise, and mobility wise at the NBA level, given his skill set.
I would add size too. Like he's going to be undersized as a four in the NBA, I think. Although he is 6'10", but like I don't know. To me, he can't play the five at all. He's going to have to play the four. That's probably not best for him. It's
Right,
kind
he's
of
too
in between.
slow to play the four.
Yeah, a little bit weird. All right, let's get to our superlatives. One word to describe Johni Broome. I said bridesmaid.
Can I get some clarification on that?
Yeah, he's always the bridesmaid to me constantly. That's been the story of his career. Like he's just really, really good, but nobody wants to fully go there and like make him the center of attention. Like, yeah, he's in the realm with Flag, but come on, it's Cooper Flag. And I feel like he's entering the NBA in a way where once again people are like, yeah, John Room's cool, whatever. He's here. He can be here. Like let's give him a chance, man. He was really, really good. We should appreciate that.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. My one word was just produce. I already touched on it. Like I say all the things about his weaknesses and what you want to talk about, but like he's a great rebounder. He could score the ball, stream. There was times before when he had that ankle injury last season, he legit was unstoppable, and disrupted the game on both ends of the floor. And it was a sight to see. He was one of the best players in college basketball.
Yeah. Okay. Is he more likely to hit his floor or his ceiling based on where we rank them? I assume I said ceiling, you said floor.
Floor, yeah. You're picking ceiling for a guy that's 25.
I'm picking ceiling. I think his ceiling is not very high, which is why I'm picking ceiling. I think just productive bench player is his ceiling, and I think that's a lot more likely than him disappearing and never playing in the league.
Fair.
Yeah. Best team fit. Once again, this is a guy that could go basically anywhere depending on where you want to put him in the draft, or in your case, as an unsigned, undrafted free agent. What team fit would be good?
I said the Spurs. I think he could fit with a lot of teams, like you said, though. I think any team looking for a backup center, there's a lot worse options than Johni Broome. And I just think him bringing his kind of that vettiness and that age. I think even being a draft prospect to a younger front court, as obviously the Spurs have with Wemby, you can kind of look for Johni Broome to be a bench big.
So I struggled with like what system to try to put him in or why, since he could really go anywhere. So I ended up just closing my eyes and asking myself what uniform I picture him in if he was a good player in the NBA. And I landed on the Miami Heat.
Hmm.
Couldn't you just see him being like a Heat culture four next to Khalil Ware and like that's your front court of the future?
I now the whole front court of the future thing's a little scary, but I see what you saw when you close your eyes.
Yeah, just like some swagger to it. Like he's turning around, getting the South Beach crowd going with like all his like I don't know celebration shit. I think it could work. Okay, in 5 years, where is he? I have him on the bench. How nasty are you going to get to Janai Broome here?
I have him on the bench as well. I have him
Wow.
on the bench. I have him on the look. I think that it's hard to find a bench big in this league. I'm a Pistons fan. I watched Paul Reed play for my team off the bench this year. It can happen. I think having a bench big that can do a little bit of everything will he'll find his way onto a team.
You put him 75th on your big board, but you think he'll be on a roster?
Yeah.
Do you have everyone on your big board on a roster 5 years from now?
No.
I'm fascinated by that. I feel like if you think he'll be around 5 years from now, he should probably be higher on the board, right?
Well, I'll get to that.
Okay. All right. Most likely to. Janai Broome is most likely to what?
Win a EuroLeague MVP and be a brand ambassador for Auburn overseas.
I don't hate that. I said he's most likely to be the GM of a team in Ice Cube's 3-on-3 league. Could you see him like getting his own team and like calling up Miles Kelly and Baker Mazzara in a couple years and just being unstoppable?
Let's get or coach a TBT team.
Yeah, I think it could work for sure. And like, I don't know, he had so much experience like being hurt but being swaggy on the sidelines and kind of like doing all that stuff. Like, yeah, I could see it working. All right, two comparisons. I'm kind of scared to reveal my best case comp. What's your best case comparison for Johni Broome?
I said Daniel Tice. Just a backup big that kind of just bounced like he was like 6'10", like in that tweener-ish range. I think Tice was a little bit more explosive, but Tice ends up playing for like the German national team. He's bounced back and forth between, the league and overseas. Had like one good year. I think that's kind of going to be Janai Broome's path.
So absurdly far away on the swagger scale from Johni Broome, but yeah, I don't hate the comp.
Daniel Tice is German swaggy.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I like that.
Deutschland. Yeah, I don't
I
know.
like Daniel Tice.
Okay, I was going for a legitimately good NBA player that also I think had explosion questions. Like coming out, it was like, okay, he was a really great college player, but like, can this really work? He's undersized. He's not a great athlete. He's kind of just like a bully, productive dude, lefty. Oh shit, we got to the league and he can do a lot because he is really skilled. I said Julius Randle.
Oh my
I
word.
said Julius Randle.
Julius Randle is one of the best athletes that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it wasn't what he was billed as coming out of Kentucky. He was billed as an undersized ground bound four.
Yeah, but he'll punch on you.
Injury concerns very early in his career. How will Julius Randle ever get his athleticism back? Guess what? 10 years later, he is one of the more productive bigs in the league. There's a 1% outcome that that's what Johni Broome becomes.
I hate when you get in your 1% range.
It could happen. What's the worst case player comparison for Johni Broome?
So I went with a big that his game didn't translate outside of 1 year in the NBA, and he fizzled out of the league basically. I said Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I went with basically smaller, shaped like you, Jaleel Okafor. I said Jared Sullinger.
I'm just blessed that I was 100% prepared for you just to say his worst case scenario was me.
No, I wish I would have done that. If you like this video, we have 79 more of these going up on the channel. A bunch of them are already out on the channel right now, leading up to our Draft-a-Palooza live show on the night of the NBA draft. Go subscribe to Sleepers Media. See them all.